In case you haven't figured it out yet, this is what you see on the screen is the book that I authored, and I'll be talking a little bit about that and moving on to my program.
All right, I have confirmed we are now streaming live on both the library, main library Facebook page, the library's children's Facebook page, and on our YouTube page. So in addition to Zoom, you'll get some, I'm sure, some folks over there. So have a great program. I'm sure it's going to be a ton of fun. I look forward to seeing you on the other side. Eileen, you got the introductions. I'm sure you're going to rock it. And Marty, have a great time.
Thanks,
enjoy yourselves. Take care.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Bye.
All right, do you want me to go ahead and introduce you?
Go right ahead.
Okay, all right, let's see. Welcome everyone. My name's Eileen. I'm one of the Thomas Crane librarians, and I'm coming to you from the library. And tonight we're going to be welcoming Marty Gitlin. He's one of the authors of A Celebration of Animation, and he's going to talk about the greatest characters in cartoon history tonight. I'd like to thank the Friends of the Thomas Crane Library. They're the ones who are sponsoring this event and allowing us to host Marty. So we're very pleased with that. And I'm just gonna turn it over to Mr. Gitlin. So I hope you enjoy.
Yeah, thank you very much. And thanks for joining. I really appreciate it. As you can see, this is the book that I authored, A Celebration of Animation, the 100 Greatest Cartoon Characters in Television History. And it's a little bit of a misnomer, actually. It's really the greatest cartoon characters of all time, because just about every cartoon character that was in television history made some kind of, that was of all time, made some kind of impact on television. And I think the only character that I could think of that might have made the book had they had any impact on television whatsoever was like Betty Boop. Other than Betty Boop, I think every character that you can imagine that deserves to be in our top 100 greatest cartoon characters is in the book. Anyway, people ask me, they say, oh, so these are your favorite cartoon characters of all time. What do you know? And I say, no, you are wrong. They're not my favorite 100 cartoon characters. They're the best 100. My co-author and I use different criteria to rank the greatest cartoon characters of all time, like legacy, how long these characters have remained in the American consciousness, voice, do they have unique voices, whether they were evil characters or funny characters or superheroes, how well their personalities match those characteristics, how much they impacted the television shows that they were actually on, that kind of thing. So that's why I tell people, there's a couple characters in the book I don't really like personally, but they really made an impact on American pop culture, and a lot of people liked them, so they're in the book. Beavis and Butthead comes to mind. I guess maybe it's a generational thing. I'm a little bit too old, maybe. I didn't appreciate Beavis and Butthead. I didn't like their humor. I didn't really like them very much, but they're in the book because they made an impact. So that's kind of just one example of this. And people are very, very passionate about the cartoon characters that they love. In fact, it was funny. I was selling this book at a Comic-Con in Cleveland, Ohio here. And a guy comes up to me with his wallet out. And he says, oh, I want this book. And I was excited because usually I have to convince people to get the book, And he says, I want it. And he said, so where do you have Huckleberry Hound ranked in your book? And I had to tell him the truth. I said, well, Huckleberry Hound didn't make our top 100. And I never thought Huckleberry Hound was a particularly funny character. But anyway, he got all upset and he put his wallet away. And he says, you have lost all credibility with me. And he walked away without buying the book. So there you go. It just kind of goes to show how passionate people are sometimes about their favorite cartoon characters. I want to talk about Saturday mornings. When I was a kid, we only had three. That's how old I am. Actually, I'm kind of giving away my age. I'll be 64 in about a month and a half. But When I was a little kid, we only had 3 channels. You know, we had the NBC, ABC, CBS. That's the only channels we had on TV. So there was limited opportunities to watch cartoons. But Saturday mornings was my dream time. I had my big bowl of cereal in front of me at 8 in the morning, and I watched 4 hours of cartoons every Saturday morning. There was 2 hours of Warner Brothers, 1 hour of Hanna-Barbera, and then there was like Woody Woodpecker. I mean, it was just wonderful. And I loved the Hanna-Barbera cartoons that were out at that time. My very favorite Hanna-Barbera character is Magilla Gorilla. And I mention that for a reason. Please keep Magilla Gorilla in mind for the next segment when I start the program, okay? Magilla Gorilla, there you go. I'm going to give you a hint right away. And so when I got older and I had 2 kids, I started watching cartoons that they watched on Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network in the late 90s, early 2000s. And I started enjoying the cartoon characters that were prevalent at that time. And so at a certain point, after I quit the newspaper business, I started writing a lot of books, and I love to rank things. I have another book out where I rank the greatest sitcoms of all time. And more recently, of course, I have this book where I rank the greatest cartoon characters of all time. And it's been a pretty big hit. So I'm really excited about it. And I want to start the program. Now, remember what I said about the character you should remember. I want to give you these cartoon character voices, and you can guess who the voices are. And here's the first one.
Mr. Peebles, but first I'll have a bit of lunch too.
Spent a lot of time in Mr. Peebles' pet shop window. What's the name of this character? I think you have to do it by chat, so we'll see if anyone chimes in as to who that character is. Anybody? Eileen, can you hear me? Eileen?
Yep, sorry. It's that moose guy, right?
No, it's not Bullwinkle.
Okay.
I mentioned him already. Now you guys have to keep that guy in mind. Okay, that's okay. That is Magilla Gorilla. That's the one I mentioned already. But we'll see what I do. Here's another cartoon character. Let's see if you'd get this one.
Ah, here we are. Arturo Murphy's Dance Studio.
I'll give you a hint. He was blind as a bat. Anybody? That is Mr. Magoo.
Yep, we got one person who got it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just shout it out. If someone hits it in chat, shout out who they're guessing.
Yep.
Okay, here we go.
Thanksgiving. Humbug. What good is it if you're on a diet?
I'll admit Connor. Hey, Connor.
I think we've got someone who guessed Garfield.
Very good. Now you guys are on a roll. Good job. Okay, here's a more modern character. Here we go. Here's a more modern one. Let's see if you can get this one.
Lois, I'm going to ask you this only once. Do you or do you not know about the bird?
Anybody? Okay. Did anybody guess that one in chat?
No, I don't see anybody who guessed that one on chat.
Okay, that one, I'll give it away, is Peter Griffin from Family Guy.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try these now. These are a little bit easier. We'll see how you do.
When you heard what the bleed boss said, if we're late again, we'll lose our we'll get canned.
Anybody know that one? The most famous stutterer in cartoon history.
I know.
Anybody?
Yeah, but I know what it is.
Anybody that knows it, either shout it out or put it on chat.
Porky?
Porky Pig.
Yeah.
Good job.
Okay.
Here we go. Here's one. Here's a more modern character.
I'm done with my shift, Mr. Krabs. And let me just say, there will come a day when I will make something of my life, and I will never have to set foot in this grease trap again.
Anybody know that one? That is, did anyone try on chat, Eileen?
No.
That's Squidward
Oh.
from SpongeBob SquarePants. Okay, this is the easiest one. You should get this one. A very famous cartoon character.
Why go get this Thomas man size? Why?
Anybody?
Donald Duck?
Donald Duck. There you go.
Somebody got that on chat. Good job.
Good job. Okay. Now, a lot of people think that there was a cartoon called Steamboat Willie, a Mickey Mouse cartoon, that was the very first talkie. It was not. Here's Connor. Oh, can you admit Connor?
Yep.
Okay. I thought I already admit him, but maybe he didn't come in. Now, that is not true. I thought so when I started writing this book, when I started researching the book, that Steamboat Willie was the first talkie cartoon, the first sound cartoon. Not true. The first sound cartoon was created by a guy named Paul Terry, who created a studio called Terry Toons. He did Mighty Mouse, and he did Heckle and Jekyll and Deputy Dog. But the first talkie is this one. It's called Dinner Time, and it's all about a group of dogs that take over a butcher shop. And here is Dinner Time, the very first sound cartoon. I'll put it as running. Now, when I ask people, who do you think our number one cartoon character is in our book? Who is the greatest cartoon character of all time? Let me, I'm going to put this up to 100. I'm sorry, I usually have it up to 100. They inevitably say either Mickey Mouse or Bugs Bunny. And I have to explain to them, when Mickey Mouse came to television with the Mickey Mouse Club in the 1950s, Donald Duck was considered to be a superior character. Donald Duck had more personality. He had more depth to his personality. He even had a little bit of anger. Walt Disney wanted Mickey Mouse to be the face of his organization, so he did not expand Mickey Mouse's personality from the theatrical shorts period into television. He just kind of kept him the same. So we actually have Donald Duck ranked ahead of Mickey Mouse. Now, I used to show Steamboat Willie, but when I discovered it wasn't the first cartoon of all time, talkie, I shifted, and I want to show you a cartoon character that was around the same time as Mickey Mouse. He came out just a few years later, and that's Popeye, Popeye the Sailor Man. And there's a lot of interesting things about Popeye. One of the things is he always had this rivalry with Bluto, who you see here in this picture. And Bluto was named Bluto for many, many years, and then he became Brutus for whatever reason. In 1957, they changed his name to Brutus. He was Brutus for a while, and then he was back to Bluto. So that's kind of an interesting little factoid there. In this particular video, Popeye, who is in love with Olive Oyl, I don't know why. Olive Oyl is not an attractive young lady. She's about 6'4" and about 40 pounds. But anyway, Popeye is no Robert Redford either, so I guess it makes sense. But in this particular video, Popeye and Bluto are trying to save Olive Oyl, who goes on a sleepwalking expedition.
Just let me off of this thing. To get off this, I'll show you some more. So we'll follow me up. Don't you? I always told you. Why, I'll let anything ever walk.
I got you this time.
Beg pardon, sir. Do you by chance have any mustard?
Very lucky walker.
I ain't afraid of nothing. Well, blow me down. I saw my duty and done it. 'Cause I'm Popeye the Sailor Man.
Now, it was actually very lucky that Popeye had eaten his spinach because he just got hit by a pot-bellied stove. Not easier to survive when you get hit by a pot-bellied stove, but he ate his spinach, so he was okay. One of the interesting things about Popeye is the popularity of Wimpy. Wimpy became more popular as the show went on, as the series of Popeye progressed. And in fact, he became so popular that they named a hamburger chain after him in England. Wimpy Burgers really was the first big hamburger chain in England until McDonald's and Burger King and Wendy's, I guess, took over there. But Wimpy Burgers were very, very popular for quite some time in England. So that kind of shows you the level of popularity that Wimpy reached at a certain point. Now, as you might have figured out by now, and I want to give you a first trivia question first before I go on to this. I want to give you 3 cartoon characters, okay? You tell me which one of these cartoon characters did not have a best friend or a sidekick on the show. Here they are. This one did not have a best friend or sidekick. Yogi Bear, Huckleberry Hound, SpongeBob SquarePants. Which one does not have a best friend or sidekick? You could put it on chat if you'd like, whatever you want to do. Anybody guessing?
We got Huckleberry Hound is the guess.
Got it. You nailed it. That's right. Good job. Yay. Huckleberry Hound is correct. Yogi Bear has Boo Boo, and SpongeBob has Patrick, and Huckleberry Hound does not. Yogi Bear had Boo Boo, and SpongeBob had Patrick. Huckleberry Hound went solo, and maybe he would have been a funnier character to me if he had someone to play off of. I don't know, but I told you that Huckleberry Hound story already. Now, as you probably figured out by now, Bugs Bunny we ranked as the top character of all time. And in fact, when my co-author and I were picking out our top 100, we were like, okay, Bugs Bunny's number 1, right? Okay, let's move on. We both agreed. It took like 2 seconds to decide that Bugs Bunny was the number 1 cartoon character of all time. And one of the reasons for that is Bugs Bunny never provoked the other cartoon characters, other Warner Brothers characters. He was always the one being provoked, and then he would fight back in imaginative ways. And that allowed him to play off the other characters so wonderfully, whether it was Daffy Duck or Elmer Fudd, or my very, very favorite cartoon character, my favorite cartoon character of all time, Yosemite Sam. I love Yosemite Sam. He is so wacky. He's just so out there. And that's why I chose a Yosemite Sam video to show, where Bugs Bunny is on Yosemite Sam's ship, which is not easy to say. And he gets the best of Yosemite Sam here.
Blast your scuppers, you barnacle-bitten landlubber! Come down here and fight like a man!
Okay, Shorty, catch me. I'm gonna jump. Here I come! Have a nice dip, drip. What? Sore again? Yeah, what a nasty disposition.
I'll keel-haul you for this.
Yoo-hoo, Mr. Pirate! Oh, Redbeard!
your prayers, varmint. No! Why, you crazy doggone idiot! What you trying to do, blow us to smithereens? No! Blast your ornery hide! If you does that just once more, I ain't a-going after it.
Didn't make it?
I'll blast your head off for this. All right now, I got you cornered. Come out and meet your doom.
I have not even begun to fight.
Now, this isn't exactly a trivia question, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. The way that Bugs Bunny held and ate his carrots has been compared to the way a very famous comedian, a movie comedian and a comedian of the 1930s, 40s, 50s, held his cigars and smoked his cigars. Do you know which comedian that is? That was compared by the way he held and smoked his cigars, the way Bugs Bunny held and smoked his and ate his carrots. I'll give you a couple more seconds to guess. Anybody guessing?
Milton Berle?
That's a really good guess.
Groucho Marx?
Groucho Marx is right.
Good job, Groucho.
That comparison has been made. Now it's funny when Bugs Bunny says, or when Yosemite Sam says, "I'm going to blast your head off for this," I cringe a little bit because I know that people have talked over the years about violence in cartoons. But when we were kids watching these cartoons, we would have never even dreamed of connecting the kind of violence they talked about and the kind of the violence that was in these cartoons to real life. You know, it never occurred to us. It never really affected us in any kind of negative way, in any kind of violent way. Today, you might be able to question it a little bit more because shows like Family Guy and South Park, you know, they have this violence, and they're actually, some of these shows actually show blood. The violence is a lot more graphic today when there is violence in cartoons than it was back then. So maybe that's part of the reason. And I don't know, you know, how you fall under the conversation of violence in cartoons or whatever. But all I know is that when I was a kid, it was never an issue. We never really thought twice about it. Now, I talked about how Bugs Bunny never provoked other cartoon characters. And there's another character that came after him that, through no real fault of his own, did nothing but provoke other cartoon characters because he was kind of annoying to other people or other cartoon characters. And that's Woody Woodpecker. And, oh, Heather's in. Hey, Heather. Now, Woody Woodpecker was created by a guy named Bugs Hardaway. His name was Bugs Hardaway. Bugs Hardaway worked for Warner Brothers, and Bugs Hardaway worked for Warner Brothers, and he helped create Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck. Well, the Walter Lantz studio wanted to create a character that would be just as popular and similar to Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck, and so they hired away this Bugs Hardaway, who created a character that was kind of a cross between Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck, and that is Woody Woodpecker. And I'm going to show you a Woody Woodpecker cartoon. There's kind of an interesting one here. In this cartoon, Woody Woodpecker is a piano tuner. I don't know why Woody Woodpecker is a piano tuner, but anyway, he is. And he runs into some bank robbers, And this is a really hectic, really fast-paced cartoon, which is one of the reasons I like it quite a bit.
There's the dough. The dough. Dough-de-dough-de-dough-de-dough.
You crazy little guy, this is the killer time.
Which way do you go? Good day, officer. We have come to move the big piano.
Right this way, gentlemen.
If me mother could only see me now.
Now, if you're ever at a party or something and it's kind of a boring party and you want to liven things up or just impart some information to people that they didn't know anything about, let them know that Walter Lance's wife was the voice of Woody Woodpecker for many, many years. Walter Lance's wife was the voice of Woody Woodpecker. So you let people know that at a party and everyone will go home. But at least they'll go home with some knowledge that they didn't have before. So, you know, one of the things I love about cartoons, and that video really showed it, is that you can, there's so much exaggeration in cartoons. You can do things in cartoons that you can't do in real life television or movies or whatever. It's so fast paced, and I love fast paced absurdity. The absurdity of cartoons is something that is just inborn in these cartoons. You could have a like Wile E. Coyote can fall off a cliff, and when he gets up, he's fine. He just has a little Band-Aid or something, whatever it might be. You can't do that in real life. In a cartoon, you could fly to the moon in 5 seconds in a cartoon. So there's that exaggeration and absurdity in cartoons, which I really, really enjoy. And that's one of the things that really had me gravitate toward cartoons when I was a little kid, because I like that exaggeration and that fast-paced humor. Now, when I want to give you another trivia question. Here we go. The Simpsons I've been around for 31 years now. Not that many people watch it anymore, but it still has a cult following. The Simpson kids used to watch a cat and mouse cartoon that was it was a takeoff on Tom and Jerry. What was the name of the cat and mouse cartoon that the Simpson kids always watched? Provide your answers in chat. Eileen, just shout it out if anyone gets it. The cat and mouse cartoon that the Simpson kids watched that was just like Tom and Jerry.
Yep, they got Itchy and Scratchy.
Itchy and Scratchy. Hey, you guys are 2 for 2. You guys are 2 for 2 on the trivia questions. And I want to tell you that I've done this program more than 100 times, and only maybe twice did the group get all 5 answers right. So you're 2 for 2 so far. You have something to shoot for. Now, when cartoons came to, when television was born, the animation in cartoons suffered because everyone involved in making cartoons in the 50s and 60s, whatever, they had to work a lot faster because they had to do cartoons every week or every day. They had to make new cartoons. So there wasn't as much depth to the animation. But that doesn't mean there weren't a lot of great cartoon characters and great cartoons in the history of when television began. In fact, here's another little tidbit of information you could impart at a party. The very first cartoon character that was a television cartoon character, his name was Crusader Rabbit. Crusader Rabbit. So there you go. And my favorite cartoon character, relatively early television, was Bullwinkle. I loved Bullwinkle. He's actually ranked in my top 10 of the greatest cartoon characters of all time. And I like to show a Bullwinkle cartoon, but it was kind of Rocky and Bullwinkle was kind of a soap opera. It was kind of like a goofy, silly soap opera. So I couldn't find one little 2-minute spot snippet that I could use. But I am going to show you another cartoon character that's in our book, and that's Fred Flintstone. And the Flintstones was born based on a 1950s sitcom called The Honeymooners, which you might know. The Jackie Gleason show. There's a Jackie Gleason show called The Honeymooners. Well, the Flintstones was based on The Honeymooners. They just moved it into prehistoric times. Fred Flintstone was like Jackie Gleason, and Art Carney, the Art Carney character was like Barney Rubble, and they had their wives. And they went to the pool hall. They went to bowling alleys. You know, they even took the same plots and turned them into the Flintstones. And here's a Flintstones video where they're at the bowling alley, which seems most appropriate.
Step aside, Pagliacci, whilst the captain warms up. Do I see a split? Just keep your eye on the ball, Barney boy.
You're the greatest, friend.
And the old master strikes again.
Hey, old master, how about something to cool you off?
The way I'm going, nothing can cool me off tonight. Okay, let me have one with a couple of straws.
One frosty one coming up. Straws, please. Thanks.
It's all right.
All on target. Bombs away.
Did I do good, Fred? Great. Just great. Now, would you like to try bowling like the rest of us? Oh, boy. Big strike coming up. Shows a big win. Close your mouth.
You know, it's interesting. One of the things that you hear in that video that you don't hear in the Woody Woodpecker cartoon or Bugs Bunny or all the theatrical shorts cartoons. These cartoons before were actually shown in movies before the movie began, as or in between double features. They showed these cartoons before television came around. Well, when television came around, like the Flintstones, they had the laugh track, and people get down on the laugh track. They're like, "Oh, it's fake laughter, it's phony," you know. And I could understand that, but I could not imagine the Flintstones without it. I don't think the Flintstones would have really been that funny without the laugh track, because it kind of just kind of made people, you know, join in on the laughter. So another cool thing about the Flintstones is in the back of my book, we ranked the greatest cartoon voices of all time, voice actors. And there was no doubt as to who we would have. Number one was Mel Blanc, who voiced all the Warner Brothers characters. Well, Mel Blanc also voiced the voice of Barney Rubble, as you might know. And there was another character in the Flintstones that came around, and this is going to relate to the next trivia question. And here you go. Here's the third trivia question. Let's see if you can get this one right. This is the hardest one. So we'll see if you can get it right. A little more than halfway through this run of the Flintstones, Fred and Barney ran into a Martian that stayed with them. He was a little green guy with antenna, and he's popped up into the air, and he stayed with the show the rest of the time. What was the name of the Martian that Fred and Barney befriended in the course of the show that stayed on it? He was, a little hint here, he was voiced by Harvey Korman of Carol Burnett fame and Blazing Saddles and so forth. Harvey Korman voiced this little Martian. What was his name?
Was it Marty?
No.
No.
You might be thinking of Marvin the Martian, but that's not it. This is a tough one. Don't feel bad if you don't get it.
Oh, the Great Gazoo?
Hey, good job. Wow. Yeah, that's right. The Great Gazoo. Good job.
Yeah, we got someone in the chat who got it. Good job.
That's excellent. That's 3 for 3. And the other two are a little bit easier, so you guys might be in good shape. Well done. The Great Gazoo is right. Now, the next video is kind of neat. There was no greater link between my generation of cartoons, which is, you know, Warner Brothers and some of the early Hanna-Barbera, whatever, and current generation of cartoons than Scooby-Doo. And the reason for that is not only is Scooby-Doo just a really great character and very popular, but there's been like 10 iterations of Scooby-Doo since 1969 when it came out. There's just, you know, they made a current one in 2016. I am not going to show you a Scooby-Doo cartoon per se. What I want to show you is the intro to Scooby-Doo in 1969. And then I want to show you the intro to Scooby-Doo of today. Well, 2016, actually. And I want you guys to vote on which one you like better. Okay, so you're going to vote which one you like better, the first one, the original, or the new one. And the reason I bring that up is the new one is like, it caters to the current generation. It's the digital age, and the videos, the images flash on the screen really, really fast, okay, in the new one. And the new video is only 17 seconds long. So they try to get another commercial in, and they try to cater to the fast pace that kids like today. But here's the original Scooby-Doo intro. And I want to have you vote as to which one you like better.
Scooby-Doo, where are you? We got some work to do now. Scooby-Doo, where are you? We need some help from you now. Come on, Scooby-Doo, I see you. Pretending you got silver. You're not here with me, 'cause I can see the way you shake and shimmer. You know
Okay, now here is the modern Scooby-Doo intro. Here is the modern. Be cool, Scooby-Doo. Okay, now first of all, where are the lyrics? The lyrics are gone, guys. The lyrics are gone. All right, I want to let you vote. Which one do you like better, the original or the modern? Eileen, just, give me a few.
The original is really the best, according to our folks here.
Good.
Definitely the original.
Anybody that voted for the original can stay on my program.
All right.
Anyone that voted on the modern can also stay on my program, but I'm a little disappointed because it was pretty obvious the one I like better, right? I let it be known which one I like better. So there you go. Now, I am going to give a shout out to a guy named Joe Wos, W-O-S. Joe Wos was my co-author in this project, and I was real lucky to get him because he's one of the foremost experts on cartoon characters in the country. Joe Wos is the resident cartoonist for the Charles Schulz Museum in Santa Rosa, California. And the Charles Schulz Museum, Charles Schulz obviously created all the Peanuts characters. And we had to decide Joe and I had to decide whether we were going to include the Peanuts characters in our book because they were originally comic strip characters. Well, we decided to include them in the book because they became more famous probably as animated characters than they were as comic strip characters because they were in all these holiday specials and they were on TV all the time, and they became really, really well known as animated characters. And we actually have Snoopy ranked number 6 in our all-time greatest cartoon characters. And one of the reasons for that is, even though Snoopy doesn't talk, he's so expressive. He's really cute character, and he's very expressive with his body movements and his facial expressions and everything. And so he became one of the most beloved cartoon characters of all time. In fact, there was a survey taken, and I don't know how scientific it was, but there was a survey taken about 8 years ago, and it was determined that more people around the world knew who Snoopy was than knew who Barack Obama was. And that was when Barack Obama was president of the United States. So that goes to show you how popular worldwide that Snoopy is. Now, in this particular video, Snoopy wants Linus's blanket. This is from the 1980s, by the way. Snoopy wants Linus's blanket, and he tries to trick him out of the blanket, which he ends up doing.
Make one move toward this blanket, you stupid beagle, and I'll pull down your window shades. You're not fooling anybody, Beagle. One more step, Beagle, and I'll punch your lights out. I forgot something. I forgot my little story. I want to tell you a little story about Scooby-Doo, a personal story about Scooby-Doo. When I was a sports writer for many, many years, I had a friend who was another sports writer, and he looked just like Scooby-Doo. I mean, he really did. And especially when Scooby-Doo laughs, he looks just like Scooby-Doo when Scooby-Doo laughs. And my issue, my problem was that I couldn't keep this to myself. I should have kept it to myself. And in one day, in a moment of grand stupidity, I told him, I said, you know what? You look a lot like Scooby-Doo. Well, I don't know if this guy had been told that before as a kid. I don't know if it was just he was in a bad mood, whatever it was. He turned all red. He looked like he was really upset. He turned his back and walked away from me. Well, this guy did not talk to me for a month. I was covering sporting events, sitting next to him at sporting events, and he didn't talk to me. He was really mad that I said he looked like Scooby-Doo. So anyway, we're friends now. We're actually Facebook friends. I actually quoted him in a book that I wrote. But this is a lesson to everybody listening right now. If you know of anybody that looks like a cartoon character, keep it to yourself. It's very rarely a compliment. So just keep it to yourself. Do not tell anyone that they look like a particular cartoon character, because they will be insulted, just like my friend was, and I didn't learn my lesson. Now, I want to give you another trivia question. Here's number 4. Jim Backus was the voice of Mr. Magoo. He also played a role in the really silly 1960s sitcom called Gilligan's Island. What was the role that Jim Backus played in Gilligan's Island?
People know this one. Oh, yeah. It's a millionaire.
Well, that is right. I'll give that to you.
You're to Thurston Howell the third.
All right, 4 for 4. You're on the brink. You guys are on the brink of greatness. You're on the brink of greatness. You got one more. You got one more to get right, and I think you're going to do it. That's awesome. Now I want to give another shout out, and that is to a guy named Tom Kenny. Tom Kenny is the voice of SpongeBob SquarePants. SpongeBob has been around for 21 years now. He is probably the most popular cartoon character of the modern generation. And he agreed to write the foreword to my book, which was awesome. And we got him to write the foreword. He called me on the phone, and I was expecting Tom Kenny to, just get a little bit of an idea as to what we wanted to write on the foreword and get off the phone, because he's a busy guy, right? He's Hollywood and all this kind of stuff. And he stayed on the phone with me for an hour. Tom Kenny, he talked about he has his own rock band in California. We talked about sports. We talked about old cartoon characters. He loves Bugs Bunny. He loves all the Warner Brothers characters. And he said he actually got on the phone with my daughter for 15 minutes and gave her advice on how to get into animation, which I thought was wonderful. He was a really down-to-earth guy. But anyway, he said that when he voices SpongeBob SquarePants, he tries to be as naive and childlike as possible. And it really, really comes off. And that childlike innocence of SpongeBob is really what makes him so popular. Here on this video, you'll see Patrick as well, his best friend Patrick. Tom Kenny was really happy when I told him that Patrick also made our book. Patrick is also in our top 100 cartoon characters of all time. He is voiced by a guy named Bill Fagerbach, who was an actor in the old sitcom called Coach. If you remember the show Coach, the sitcom Coach, Bill Fagerbach was that blonde kid, blonde dauber. That's Patrick. Anyway, in this video, the writers are trying to draw a parallel between the way kids react when they eat too much ice cream and the way adults react when they drink too much alcohol. And you will see that parallel drawn here. This is from the SpongeBob movie.
Hey, all you goobers, it's time to say howdy to your favorite undersea peanut, Goofy Goober!
Hey, fellow Goofy Goobers, time to sing! Oh, I'm a Goofy Goober, yeah. You're a Goofy Goober, yeah. We're all Goofy Goobers, yeah. Goofy, 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 Goober, yeah!
Get it together, old boy. I know. I'll just stop thinking about it. Hey, you know, I actually feel a little better. I don't even remember why I was sad.
Hey, it's the new Krusty Krab 2 manager. Wow, the pressure's already setting in.
No, Pat, you don't understand. I didn't get the promotion.
What? Why?
Mr. Krabs thinks I'm a kid.
What? That's insane!
I know.
Well, saying you're a kid, it's like saying I'm a kid.
Here's your goober meal, sir.
I'm supposed to get a toy with this? Thanks.
I'm gonna head home, Pat. The celebration's off.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm not in a goober mood.
Okay, see ya.
And here's your triple gooberberry sunrise, sir.
Yum.
Oh, triple gooberberry sunrise, huh? Well, I guess I could use one of those.
Now you're talking. Hey, waiter! We need another one over here.
There you go.
Ooh. Boy, Pat, that hit the spot. I'm feeling better already.
Yeah.
Waiter, let's get another round over here. Oh, Mr. Waiter, 2 more, please. Woo! Waiter! Oh, waiter! Waiter!
Why do I always get the nuts?
All right, folks, this one goes out to my 2 bestest friends in the whole world, Patrick and his big peanut guy. It's a little ditty called
Okay, this is it, guys. Here we go. Trivia question number 5. Who were the 3? This one's kind of tough, I must admit. Who were the 3 Powerpuff Girls? I try to cover, different generations, so I didn't want them to all be early cartoons. Who were the 3 Powerpuff Girls? I'll give you a little time with this because you got to name all 3.
We got one, Buttercup.
That's one of them.
Yeah. Bubbles.
That's 2 of them.
What else? Blossom.
Blossom, Buttercup, and Bubbles. Hey, good job, guys. You got all 5 right. That is rare. That is rare. And I'll tell you what, I've done programs with, gee whiz, 60, 70 people in it. And they didn't get all 5 trivia questions right. So that is really amazing. Good job. That is awesome. I am very proud of you guys. Good job. Now, last video I want to show you here, when in the modern day of cartoons, the writers have gotten a little bit more involved in social issues, like social issues that kids might be having with their parents or babysitters or whatever it is. There's a character named Timmy from the Fairly Odd Parents, which was a very, very popular cartoon. And he had issues with his babysitter. He had issues with his parents. And so, it's kind of modernized the way that writers write about cartoon characters in a lot of these situations. Now, there's a modern cartoon called Bob's Burgers, and there's a character there, a 13-year-old girl named Tina Belcher. And Tina Belcher kind of falls in this category. She's not a very attractive young girl. She's not real confident socially, and she sounds like a boy. She's actually voiced by a male voice actor. And in this particular cartoon, this cartoon doesn't have a lot to do with social issues by any means. I picked it out because it's just a funny cartoon. And she goes driving. Her father lets her drive in a parking lot, even though she's only 13 years old. And it does not work out very well.
Wow, I still can't believe this sale. 6,000 low-fold dispenser napkins for $58? What are they thinking?
I don't know.
Yeah, and they're 2-ply. This is a great day. A really great day. Wow, look how big and empty the parking lot is, huh? What do you say you get behind the wheel?
What would I do behind the wheel?
Drive.
Is that legal?
Well, no, but my father let me drive when I was about your age. Call it a perk for running errands with your dad.
Let's make this kitty purr.
Well, go ahead, try a turn. Tina, why are you groaning? You're doing fine. Tina, relax. Easy. Okay. Tina, you're kind of headed toward the only other car in the lot. You have plenty of time to turn, Tina, so just go ahead. Turn one way or the other. You're just swerving back and forth. Turn one way and stick with it, Tina.
Tina, for the love of God, turn away or stop! The brakes, Tina, on the left, you're about to hit that car! The brakes! Hit the brakes!
Oh my God, it's bad.
I ruined the car.
You did.
Okay,
You really did.
Why he couldn't grab the wheel and just turn it for her is beyond me, but then it wouldn't have been funny, so there you go. Now, it is question and answer time. So I want to ask you to ask me about any questions you might have about my book, which is right here, or about cartoons, or about anything you'd like related to cartoons or anything else. Feel free to ask. In fact, if Eileen, if you want to unmute, you can unmute, and they could just ask verbally, or they can chat. You know, whichever way you'd like to do it.
I'm going to unmute Connor. He has a question for you.
Go ahead, Connor.
Hello.
Hi, Connor.
I just want to ask, and I was not here for the very, very beginning.
Okay.
But I don't know if you covered this, but in pre-sound cartoons, were there any cartoons that made a smooth transition between pre-sound to post-sound, or did some of them have a rocky transition?
Well, there weren't really any that did make any kind of transition at all. In fact, there were really no pre-sound cartoon characters that made much of an impact at all. In fact, there were really the time where there was actually pre-sound cartoons to the time that they actually started in 1928 when they had their first talkie was very, very limited amount of time.
Right.
So no,
Okay.
there really weren't any impactful cartoon characters that made that transition. When sound came around in 1928, you know, that was when the popularity of cartoons really took off, and that was when, you know, Mickey Mouse and Popeye were the two notable real cartoon characters from the early days. Betty Boop as well. That, but no, I wouldn't say that at all. They're really.
What about, like, I don't know, what came to mind for me when I thought of a cartoon that actually made a good transition was like Felix the Cat.
Oh yeah, Felix the Cat, sure. And Felix the Cat was a very, very popular character for quite some time. He had his bag of tricks, and yeah, that's actually a good point. I liked Felix the Cat. Felix the Cat really remained popular through the theatrical short period, well into television. In fact, he had his own. You know, they were watching kids of my generation, and even into the 1970s, were watching Felix the Cat cartoons that were made a good half century earlier.
Yes.
But those were talkies. I mean, those were actual, you know, they were not showing any kind of a silent Felix the Cat cartoon.
Oh, yeah.
Previous to that, you know, to kids of that generation.
Well, this was very interesting.
Well, thank you very much.
You really know your stuff.
Yeah, thanks very much. The book itself, if anyone wants to know a little more about it, is 100 entries of the book, and each entry has a different trivia section. Really kind of humorous. We try to make them funny and engaging, these trivia sections. And we also have all the basic facts. We have the complete history of every cartoon character in the book. And we also have at the end of each chapter, each entry, why we ranked the character where we did. And in the back of the book, we have these top 10 lists, the top 10 the top 10 cartoon cats, the top 10 cartoon dogs, the top 10 cartoon voice actors, the top 10, everything. And so that's kind of a little bit of a bonus that you get with this book. And plus you get all these wonderful images of these cartoon characters, these wonderful pictures of all these cartoon characters as well in the book.
Well, I'll be sure to check it out.
Well, let me show you something here. And please, does anybody have any other questions?
I sent you a couple other questions we got from Facebook, where some people asking for you to comment on the Archies or Mr. Gadget.
Well, the Archies were obviously an animated. Mr. Gadget, Inspector Gadget is in the book, and also the Archies didn't make the book. They were more of a comic strip kind of thing. We didn't think that the Archies themselves were worthy of being in our top 100. But if anyone have any questions about their favorite cartoon characters, whether they're in the book or not, please let me know. I'll be glad to answer. In the meantime, please, if you guys want the book autographed by me and personalized for anyone you'd like and shipped for free, go to Etsy.com. And I think that the library is posting it as well. But you go to Etsy.com and you go to Gitlin Books, Gitlin Books, all one word on Etsy, and you can get my book. And it's right here. And also, if you know of any Red Sox fans, I wrote a book. I was a sports writer for many, many years. I covered the Red Sox, and I wrote a really entertaining book, complete history of the Red Sox, the Ultimate Boston Red Sox Time Machine book. So all you do is go on Etsy.com, Gitlin Books, all one word, and you can get my autographed and personalized cartoon book or the Red Sox book. Any other questions for me?
Question. Hold on just a sec. I'll unmute him.
I'm sorry, just one follow-up, very quick.
Go ahead.
Did Felix the Cat end up making the top 100?
No, because he wasn't. The problem was in the television era that he wasn't really. They didn't expand his personality. They were basically just showing the old cartoons, and they were very old. Yeah. And no, he didn't quite make the book. In fact, he was one of the last cuts. We put 200 cartoon characters out there, and then we narrowed it to 150, and we narrowed it to 125. He was in our top 125.
Wow.
And he was one of the last ones that we cut. He would have been the oldest cartoon character we actually had in the book, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah, and it just goes. I mean, look, if you're in our top 200. You're a great cartoon character because there were thousands to choose from, thousands.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah. So
Thank you.
Our number 100 is Heckle and Jekyll. By the way, people ask me who was the last character in the book that made your number 100, and that is Heckle and Jekyll.
That's the last person in the 100.
Yeah, Heckle and Jekyll are number 100, and it's funny because some characters that we have in the book are part of a team, like Heckle and Jekyll or Ren and Stimpy or Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner. And they're both in the book in the same entry. But if we have a character that was part of a team that was so far superior to his teammate, we have them separate. We have Bullwinkle in our book, but we don't have Rocky. We have Alvin in our book, but we don't have Simon and Theodore because Alvin was just so much a better character, a funnier character than Simon and Theodore. So that's how we did it. But a lot of characters we have are teams and we have them together.
Poor Simon.
I like Simon and Theodore. They just weren't anywhere near as memorable and funny as Alvin. So we have Alvin, but we don't have Simon and Theodore.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
What about the Jetsons?
The Jetsons was an interesting case. We have the Flintstones in there. We have Fred Flintstone. I like the Jetsons, and I think the Jetsons was an entertaining show, but there wasn't one. This is a book about the greatest cartoon characters of all time. There was not one cartoon character from the Jetsons that we felt was worthy of being in our top 100. We almost included Rosie, the maid, but we did not include Rosie. She almost made the book, but there was not one particular character in the Jetsons that we thought was worthy of being in our top 100.
Cool.
Anybody else have any questions for me? Okay.
We had, I think you already mentioned Yogi Bear and the Flintstones. They made it, right? I think we had a comment on Facebook.
Yogi Bear and Fred Flintstone are way up there. They're both in the top. They're both in the top 15.
Yeah. What about the Roadrunner?
Oh yeah, Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner are way up there.
Nice. Yeah.
They're a team. They're up there as a team. I love that. They were such. That was a really creative cartoon.
So did you rank some that are like so new and like adult oriented, like BoJack Horseman and like more adult oriented cartoons?
Yeah, well, quite a few. Not those in particular, but we have a lot of modern cartoon characters. Some of them are very evil. In fact, we actually have Stewie Griffin and Eric Cartman from South Park, Stewie Griffin from Family Guy. We have them both ranked very, very high. Now they were very Stewie Griffin. I mean, Eric Cartman in particular is a horrible cartoon character, just evil, just a terrible kid, you know. But there's a lot of depth to his character. He's a great character in terms of the depth of his personality, even though he's really, really evil. So we have a lot of evil characters in the book, or some. We have a lot of funny characters. We have some superheroes. We have 92 years of cartoon characters in the book, and it's a really, really wide-ranging variety of cartoon characters that made our book. And if you'd like to check it out, you know, you don't no obligation to buy or anything, but just go to Etsy and go to Gitlin Books, and I have a real explanation of how the book is. Just call it up and check it out, and if you'd like to get it, that would be great. I autograph and personalize it and ship it all for free.
Okay. We had one person ask if she could have your email, just because a brother of hers wanted to talk with you. If you want to private message me that, or Marty, or
yeah, I could just tell you.
Okay.
It's M Gitlin, MGITLIN, at sbcglobal.net. Sam Boy Carr, sbcglobal.net. Yeah, sure, no problem.
Okay, good. Yeah, she just wanted to see if she could follow up on that. So
Sure. That would be great. Any other questions for me? I want to thank everyone for coming in. This was so great. And you guys got all the trivia questions. Congratulations on that. And thanks for coming in and checking out my program. I really appreciate it. You guys were a really good audience. Really, really good.
Got all the questions right. Well, thank you guys. If you don't have any other questions for Marty, thanks again on behalf of the library and the Friends of the Library for stopping by. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. You guys have a good night now.
All right. Good night, everyone. Bye.